Mince. Ah. Mec. 1, 2, 1, 2, oh. 1, 2, test. Et ça devrait suffire. Allô? One moment, please. Allô? Pourquoi il sature comme ça? Allô, 1, 2, 1, 2. J'ai un petit peu fou quand même. Test. 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 Moins 10. Bien. On va changer. Ok, on va laisser comme ça pour l'instant. Sorry for mating rate little. Starting some screen and we are set up. Okay. Perfect. So we are going to do the killer mission today. So what is? Oh, not even killer mission yet. So okay, well I will farm whatever for in preparation of the of the Fate collab, which will take place in a few days. Well, just wait a second. I have my sound feedback, which is a bit high. Okay. Whatever. New version? No. So it is, yes, it is imminent. It is, I see. Today 20 hours. Okay. So next stream next weekend, it will be with the new version. So we'll have a few more story, you know. Just let me do this work real quick. I waited for you to do it. Oh. No, it is not 5-star. Okay. Good. Oh, I don't know why. I don't think it is good. Okay. What? So I was pre-farming for Saber because I want to pull on her banner. Just real quick. this is a really good dual erudition plus Hertha and Gallagher as a support. It does work quite well. Gallagher is one of the best star characters, best 4-star character.
This big diamond, it's all yours. Time to twirl.
Insanity.
Time to twirl. Open sesame. Glimpse the unknown.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Time to twirl. Endless riddle. Nothing but a void. Time to twirl. This big diamond, it's all yours. Time to twirl.
To the soul.
Time to twirl. Expand your thinking. Watch it crumble.
Insanity.
Time to twirl.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Time to twirl.
To the soul.
Time to twirl. This big diamond, it's all yours. Endless riddle. Nothing but a void. Time to twirl.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Time to twirl.
I have it under control. Insanity.
Time to twirl. This big diamond, it's all yours. I won't break.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Time to twirl.
To the soul. Insanity.
Time to twirl. This big diamond, it's all yours.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Time to twirl.
To the soul.
Time to twirl.
My friends, indulge yourselves!
Time to twirl. Endless riddle. Nothing but a void.
Ooh. Okay, there is a new version of this game coming up. Okay, this was a gold mini game when it was put into the game. Okay, that's quite nice. Okay, so the book. Last time I did not continue this book. We have three cards left. Let's go with Yassin. Healer of Light Yacinthia in the courtyard. On the lips, the rest unit plays melody as the girl looks over the courtyard petite and exhales and seals past and permanent blessings. The entire light is softly like a dad illuminates its light. The girl makes the courtyard tidy.
Welcome to the Twilight Courtyard. How can I help you?
The other night lands outside the only city they invade. I like curing those maladies. Girl's skills can bring forth miracles, but today she welcomes Earth patients, quite special. The gravely patients shake their head, and they are coming and will wonder more and more. You may heal her once, but you cannot cure despair. The girl watches the patient leave, and her heart swells in sorrow.
Long time no see, Hyacinth. Are you here in Akama for a visit, or do you need help from us?
I want some shining things, even if they're considered junk.
Multicolored paper bags, crystal clear glass, cotton various field dyed, and jingling wind chimes. The girl brings them back to the courtyard and spares no effort to decorate all around. And then some fireflies wandering, the girl is all smiles.
Little ones, thank you for your light.
The patient returns here and opens their eyes wide. Multicolored dreams on the rooftops now reside, and the lawns contain the swift whispers of sunlight. A soft breeze passes with no hint of cold, only serving to wave the playful chimes and ocarinas of delight.
Wow, there's light everywhere.
The news is soon spread by the grove, and people with empty hearts visiting droves. The girl prepares candies and tea and listens to every visitor's complaints. People say there was once a star called the sun in the sky, but no, that star is no longer there. People say that Aquila took away the world's light, but they still left behind a heart bright to illuminate this happy dream in the night. Like the blizzards in the month of mourning, those calamities fall, burying warmth and dawn's calls. Orderless tides swallow up the grove of reason, and that tiny healing haven is also extinguished, broken and barren. When the girl, far from home, hears of such grave news, the wind brings to her a moment of confusion, but it also evaporates the tears that briefly sparkle into being, and the girl still smiles bright and happy. Soon the people of Okama see once again the girl collecting more pieces and tokens, wanting to rebuild that pure haven. But she never realized that wherever she stood, she herself was that holy courtyard, that light-filled haven. Act concluded. And we have 1 out of 5 on our card, okay. Annexa. Demise the scholar Anaxagoras. Discard not to be broken. This is a tale buried in history. One day a student elated in victory dashed around the grove's territory.
I saw the spell the professor carved on his body.
The youth with
it must
white
be
hair.
a power most secret. A means for one man to stand against 1,000.
The youth with white hair was beside himself in joy. That spell was rare indeed, for it was a secret way to overturn a cart of hay. Ugh. The scholar was still a mortal body, as yet to snatch life from death, or to reforge a new flesh through a god's remedy. Various minute tricks and parody, he studied them all, crafting schemes oh so busy. For everyone knows he wishes not to use the divine power that is his, refusing rightful custody. And in that unwitnessed moment of his death, final tragedy, he still held the hay cart spell steady, standing alone facing the evil enemy. Now that craft is regarded as a magnificent study, not because of what it was, but because of its purpose known to everybody. In fact, he once crafted miracles, forging silent servants, using soil as vehicle. Though no sentience, they do their job without obstacles, reveling Titankin in spectacle. However, one day he suddenly changes his tune.
Creation is the Titan's work, and slavery is the Titan's manacle. When imitating divine evil, there's no need to invest reason, most pinnacle.
When the servants have all been recycled, he deigns none to explain, fearing to waste his reason or muscle, so he jokingly concludes the questioning with a chuckle.
If it's just for odd jobs, students are a better gamble.
The way he addresses himself comes from elsewhere, an imitation of a divine machine with some flair. He happily answers 5 questions for those unaware, knowledge seemingly given with stingy care.
For a wise one, 5 answers reveal creation's secrets, the truth hidden and bold. But a fool learns but not, and is left in the cold. Now, inquire.
That is, in fact, the scholar's crafty snare. He hides the answer he seeks behind questions posed by those unaware, doling breadcrumbs as bait to lure and compare, whether the inquirer may be worthy of his wisdom to share. The scholar never looks at laws and measurements, ignoring the flow and shift of time's passage, and uncomprehending students gossip in eager regiments.
Why? Obviously to drag out class time as a statement.
The student's answer seems rather adamant.
He is panicked by the flow of time, for his work is yet done, yet to implement.
The stubborn assistant interjects in a rare display of testament.
This man is too arrogant, and he intends to desecrate Orynyx's accomplishments.
The passing sage from another school brings admonishment. Outside the courtyard, the gossip flows into the scholar's ear. He silently gives a grade to every question and argument, but none know the true answer according to his judgment. Act concluded. Okay, 2 out of 5 for his card. And now we have Castoix, the second chapter. Willing to adorn the living. Born with an evil curse, her hand dips into lethal cinnabar and white lead to personally decorate the faces of the dead. Her skills are said to bestow beauty on anyone, even transforming their appearance completely. Many skills were born out of her seclusion, but it painted her dwelling in a gloomy vision. Only a select few have set foot in his mansion, and the thief and the weaver were 2 such lucky persons. The girl converses with all items in the house, with specimen tea sets and even pillows in profusion, as if she can hear the responses of these non-living things.
I have always lived in isolation. Out of courtesy, this is how I practice my words and actions.
It is hard to believe her explanation. Her face when talking shows such a gentle disposition that unless she is telling fabrications, she must regard her partners as mere children. People passed these rumors down. Within the area of her encirclement, all things become frozen, escaping time's increments. It is an exaggeration, that is certain. People only found an ancient lion's head in Manso's ruined armaments.
Those words are true.
The head itself was nearly dead.
Though they won in fierce battle, the warriors were powerless to turn the tide. It was the embrace where death dwelled that gave early release from their pain.
This is how death escapes time. She keeps every final embrace hidden in her immortal heart. Out of her numerous works, butterflies and flowers often stand out stark. Ignite them and you can almost hear the maker's remark. Even in death's silence, our song can still be heard. It is a gift greatly treasured by the maiden. Few have the honor to be graced with such work. Only one has the heart to burn such a gift, and the reason she gives is rather far-fetched.
I must peer into all fates unknown.
The power of time is boundless, but there is one thing it cannot conquer.
Death is abominable in humans' eyes. Apart from my identity, there's nothing about me worthy of praise.
The beloved Goldweaver hears this in distress, then tries to teach her the art of weaving and threads. It has been said that the maiden has works that a holy city possesses, but this is the judgment the Goldweaver expresses.
Ah, well, none can know all things, nor be skilled in all crafts. Her works are too early for the living to comprehend.
Act concluded. Nice. The flame changer's path has been lit. Well, we do not have even a third of that well completed, so this shows how much of Amphoreus we have left. As the developer said in the interview, it will be like a whole year of content only focused in Amphoreus, or most of the time at least. Everyone's story is so deep, I can't keep up. Does Sirius understand them? That is, what is a god exactly? Wait, that can be right. If that's true, then why are there so many strange gods? If there was a god who ensures men lose us for fur, would that be considered omnipotent too? But still, I don't quite get it. So let me ask you in another way. There must be a difference between gods and us, right? Otherwise, why would anyone ever want to become a god? Right. When you really think about it, there's nothing that can only be done as a god. How strange. As I keep asking, I'll only get more and more confused. Maybe I'll wait until I've grown a little more before discussing these things with Sirius. Nice. Get 3 more, 120 stalagmites. Oh, 140. Sorry. One last here. And then... So we are at 16 out of 33 here. So half of what is displayed currently. Oh, there are other ones. Okay. We're not done yet. Still crystals left. Okay. Continue Alexa. Expose the divine.
Do not make him your enemy, even though he may seem frail and weak.
When a valiant warrior from afar assaulted the grove, he shattered their strength with only his eyes and pointing stick. He sent them running, bright cut to the quick.
He may seem cold and unkind, but he sees through human emotions with just a peek.
A student was troubled by love's trials and aches. With one sentence, he guided them away from heartbreak, letting destiny's strands weave a path to love and happiness shape.
All is science, and human wisdom knows no bounds. Both martial prowess and emotions are knowledge that can be found.
He firmly believes that all things can be deciphered, but to those who pick. Those that cannot be solved are not mysteries infinite, but only questions waiting to be answered, not obstacles bleak. For those who only protect themselves, the world cannot see their intentions. In sorrowful parting hours, the scholar refuses trifle matters. Isolated in a corner of his library, he fiddles with instruments of crafters. Colleagues suspect him of creating new blasphemies, while students believe him to be making new miracles of mastery. The curious one's gaze through the window beholds, seeing a small wooden bird on the table, waddling in comfort, swaying in the scholar's hand, an endearing cohort. I ask him, seeking his motive for this effort, but the scholar, usually so quick to retort, refuses to answer, seemingly coming up short. Creatures that through his hands pass, all change their functions, invoking wonder peerless. He once removed his hat, as others witnessed, then walked on the hat over water with success. They also saw him light a flare fearless, instead creating chilling cold air, not so harmless. That bird was once a toy, and now his messenger, or perhaps still a toy. That is the magic trick of his success, and one of his teachings that he will profess.
Nothing in this world is ever born fixed.
The far-seeing must be far in thought. His teachings are like prophetic delight, yet he opposes prophecies with all his might. It's a time he refrains from looking back on, traveling all lands, changing prophecies, trying to prove the priest's words were not unchangeable foresight. Countless times he exhausted his crafty slates, wanting to rescue the doomed and resurrect whites, wanting to shame the prophesied heroes of magic and might, wanting to sway promised villain to a course more upright. Perhaps fate could not guess his goals, but it could trample over his plans overnight. At the end, all these challenges flicker out, but he persists still in endless plight. His ambitions are too lofty, and so failure follows him never too softly. Through moments of defeat felt increasingly common, the scholar learned one thing he has never forgotten: respond to defeat with a smile haughty. Not from optimism, nor from the defeat of the heart.
Severity.
The laughter oozes with self-mockery, but is also full of a different emotion.
If this road is easy to walk, then future generations will not praise my name.
Says his ambition. Act concluded. Ouais. Next. Aglaia. Elegy of Beauty and Ugliness. In the past, when strife swallowed the earth, and schemes disrupted the heart of friends, the maiden who was yet a weaver was wrapped in a cocoon most grand, untouched by the storm sweeping through the land. She spent her youth in a palace of romance, surrounded by treasures, with even maids beautiful beyond belief, often bathing in the praise and admiration of wealthy nobles. Till warfare sets the threads aflame, and the devoutly praying priest was slaughtered before the altar, the family adored by all perished before their courtyards, and the blood of her maidservants dyed her golden mantle red. The golden threads covering her eyes snapped, and the concealed truth finally appeared
Before
firsthand.
a strong wind, a weak nobility cannot stand.
In the long, endless war, the Gold Weaver family was shattered by the sword, and the legacy of romance became a tragedy. She had a broken mansion and an empty house. The nobles who once loved her, none now willing to help her. All the romance, talent, peerage, and beauty, what use are they in a disaster? As she closed her eyes in melancholy, the maidservant pushed the broken loom over her earnestly.
Would you like to pick up the shuttle again and weave for me?
The young miss wanted to laugh, but could only respond with shock, for the maid's face was now covered in scars as she fought to protect her mistress' safety.
Though I can no longer see, I still want to don the garments you weave.
And yet, when she heard this, the desire to weave overcame her fears. Therefore, in the broken shadows of the house, the loom of romance moved once more. The garments were exchanged for copious gold, buying back her renown of old. Yet beside this mistress most noble, there was always a blind maid in tow, dressed in luxuries unfitting. As a weaver attended banquets, the praises of her youth returned.
Majestic lady must be Nestia in the flesh.
But harsh words
Mistress's
also
beauty
strained.
is quite reduced by a maidservant, so unsightly.
Maidservant apologized in embarrassment, lowering her head.
Mistress, I have brought you shame.
Yet her mistress brought her to the middle of the ball, having her garbed in the latest dress of the model. She now knew that praises and ridicule were both untrue, and that romance cared not for beauty of the face. The golden thread of gods exists only within. She is no longer that helpless girl. She already carries the god's authority and walks the hero's route, but she still cannot hold back the calamity of strife. The unsightly maidservant blocked the dagger aimed at the mistress' soul, and blood once again dyed red something she wove. That was the last time in her life the maid's face she clearly beheld. When sewing the death shroud, she could not control how her figure shook, often pricked by the needle sharp and acute. Thus, that pristine white cloth wet with tears of blood and gloom. And when the day of the funeral came, she saw the commandant's endless graves, and the nobles dressed in silk, frolicking in the grove, and sadness overwhelmed her in droves. Is this the destiny unleashed? For the act of chasing God's flames, she kneels before the divine statues and prays of Nestia of romance, to look at these garments soaked in blood from the flames of war.
Why are those that appear so fair in fact ugly in truth? Why do faces unsightly contain souls cut from noble cloth? Why can the blind see the light? And why do those with eyes only see night?
The dying gods remain silent.
If you no longer have the power to see, then with my destiny...
She grasps the burning core flame. Alex searches for eyes that can see everything. Warm liquid flows from her eyes that now see all. In that instant, she is sure that she saw the manifestation of beauty. Act concluded. For Aglaia, okay. Next, Medemus. 4th. Ascension of the Lone God Slayer.
To die for glory is not eternal sleep.
This is the lie all Castron Kremnos keeps.
The world after death is superior to reality and basks in light.
But such vague poems the Grand Priest would not easily believe.
Cowards who dare not to look death in the eye.
He declared this on the day he returned from the Stream of Souls.
Longing for a martyr's heaven and reciting self-deceiving stories.
His words are sacrilege reincarnate, more arrogant than his blood and family.
True warriors should treat that paradise with spite.
Many followers thus stop, no longer following his steps, for they feel this young man's words, compared to poems, are even more absurd. A body immortal equals not perfection. The man braved dangers endless simply to seek its weakness. In his greener days with more amateur skills, in crises where death denied him even after kills, he learned why curse is a synonym for blessing, for he saw that visage of terror at life's closing. The man seems unmoved when his past is mentioned, having braved this 9 times, he who was once lacking now excels above everyone else still rising. Yet, when asked if he is still as ticklish as when he was a child, he does not answer. It's a wild tale he won't care to opine. It's said that Castrum Kremnos has secrets divine through which the king's power has passed, a one-man army by strength in their bloodline.
Therefore, a traitor who does not inherit the throne is a king most infirm.
The protagonist hears his words, he refutes not but openly responds,
These are not rumors unfound. But will they matter if my deeds eclipse those of all other kings, achieving glory beyond?
Never turning back in war, he seizes all our glory.
That rumor in the war camp of fury often casts a shadow on the man's heart, indestructible and fiery. When campaigns become mired in terror, he sends his army out to places safe and secure, yet alone he goes to fight, knowing death can touch him near. The Kremnoan detachment following in livery, all die in bed devoid of glory. They have their share of grudges upon death, but the man has no regret, none necessary.
Your glory lies not in death, but in my hands.
The dust settles and strife calms. A deathly quiet covers its father's realm, and the man alone returns home. A question seems to sound from shadows of the past around.
Did you already walk that flame-chasing road, O King?
Atop the throne, the man muttered alone.
There's nothing else worthy of the hunt, for I am the blazing fire at the journey's end.
As it has been foretold, he killed the king to become a king and killed the god to become a god. His eternal destiny is to be crowned in blood. Act concluded. This was a good storytelling for this one. Okay, next. Customer's number 3. With her heart unwithered. To the dead, when she bids farewell, she casts the slate into the fire and acts futile. I have never heard of lands with such customs. At this time, something drizzles down the slate full of colors, seemingly tales for the reaper of shields. It turns out the slate is inscribed with poems, and every phrase is diligently colored with skill.
Before people pass away, I write down these poems.
That is the limit of the girl's answer, and she only responds with silence for requests to read these poems. As time goes, she finally opens her petal-veiled heart, and the reason behind her reluctance to show her
My
work
poems
is
are still too green.
Clear.
Not worthy to be art.
It stems from the girl's shame and discomfort. It seems the girl once also loved to imagine with effort, and many wild tales were written on her part. A misunderstanding that was made her cease his art. It was a pair of arch enemies who gained fame in the war. One of them burst into laughter after
He and I
reading the
clearly
girl's
wish to kill and tear each other apart. But in your eyes, you think we are close, unable to part.
She did not write poetry as a pastime. It is said that she left great works under hundreds of names. At different times, she even criticized her previous beliefs, making her identity even harder to assume. I still found her weakness after many twists and turns. No matter how fickle her thoughts, she never lost faith in those words regarding the value of fragile mortal lives. She is heartbreaking and enchanting. She is the fingertips of death and the ghost of love and poetry. However, those poems have brought her many complaints. The poems that her hands composed all lack an ending of any kind, and the Maid of Death has no desire to continue them.
This is truly difficult to write.
The girl excuses
My
herself.
duty is to lead the living to the end. I cannot think of a fitting end for a poem to the dead.
Such is the epitome of lies. One who has grown used to death remains inexperienced with farewells. Therefore, I extend her an invitation. In this story belonging to herself, she can leave an ending reserved only for her.
What she brings is not only death.
She thus replied when we first met, and when we meet once again for the last time, she again deliberates over this closing statement.
Apart from death, there is something else that is worth remembering.
That is the journey she walked. Act concluded. Okay. Cypher. Fleet-footed traveler, Cypher. Lying Cat's travelogue. A thief tells a few
The
stories.
first story is titled The Golden Apple. It doesn't have to go to the fairest.
That city is named Paphos. where the golden light of Mystia shines. The golden apple tree sits in the city's middle. Only the fairest can pluck its apples. The beauty pageant begins on time, as the fair ones stretch their supple arms, trying to pluck the fruits above their heads. Yet every time the apple come within reach, a breeze blows the fruit away without a trace. The audience in displeasure disbands, with only one girl left standing there, her features bland. Yet to her surprise, she finds a arm full of golden fruits, her harvest grand.
The second story is titled, Trying to Argue? Don't trick yourself, please.
That city is named Idilia, where Circe's roots bury deep and wide. The sophist scholar holds authorities aloft, but his stories common sense bereft.
Even the best athlete could never catch up to this turtle.
None can overturn him in arguments, and he obtains the champion's crown in merriment. Yet, as he is about to leave, a wind blows the tortoise in front of him, and behold, his paradox becomes truth. To catch up to the turtle, an entire day and night is spent.
The third story I will tell is titled, A Competition in Trickery. Who do you think is the Grandmaster?
That city is named Doldolos, where even Zagreus was once strict. The king promises to reward the perfect lie, wishing to recreate the deceit of the Titan, his grand feat.
I think the world is a gourd. In truth, we are all already dead.
The liars take their turns in the challenge, but no one pleases the king. With a gust of wind, the girl emerges from before the king's face, and when she leaves, she already has the king's promised gold in a pouch. The other are curious as
Zagreus
to
can
what
only
like.
tell lies. And I am Zagreus.
As to what lies she raised.
The fourth story is called, You Like Money. Good. But you must pay the price.
That city is named Mythemis, where the sea breeze intoxicates the people with delight. A wealthy penny pincher prays to the Titan.
Please give me the power to turn anything into
Midas. That doesn't end well, eh? With a breeze, the work in his hand turns to gold, but his joy is fleeting to behold, for with one embrace his waist turns into coins scattered on the soil. He holds at Faguza to retract the blessing, but sees a girl in a hood in passing. The girl laughs hilariously, holding his hands in hers.
Go back and check your vault. Some gold may be missing. But your beloved is right there, waiting.
Cyphera, you took another long journey.
And we want to hear your fun stories!
The girl with the hood dangles her feet in the bath, as 2 coins dance and fly between her fingers.
Basically, I visited 4 places, tricked them to my heart's content, and came back fully rewarded.
The girl pauses her words and looks out the window as the light above the Titan's shoulder casts her right cheek aglow.
The dawn will never cease, and the thief star wanders in foreign lands. How would you know that I am not lying right now?
Okay. Finish the path. I've been lit. I think I was a bit late on those story rating. Cass, only at the very end did I realize she was nothing like the rumors. I'm really curious, is everyone like this? Having a side that no one else sees? Is Sirius the same? I've only just been born, so of course I don't have one, as even later on there must be people who stay unchanged forever, right? But right now I'm not really in the mood to dig too deep. Cass's story is stepping into the next chapter and I can't quite explain how I feel. It's like sadness but also like some strange sense of relief. If someone were to ask about us, how should we tell our story? If you say that's serious, then that's a trustworthy statement. I'd love a hug from her too. In future stories, Sirius doesn't have to go out of their way to avoid any endings for my sake, okay? Even though every story has an ending, I still wish everything could start over again. So, yes, it is two more. We have two more set of stories. Okay. Whose visage comes into view? Let's do... Oh, we can complete Aglaia now. Okay. Let's do her first. Weight of dreams and slumber. She can see the most delicate colors, the most distant contours. She can see the most secret desires and through the most perfect liars.
But being able to see everything is the same as seeing nothing.
Countless mirages and cacophony surround her with stimuli plenty, casting her into another kind of blindness overwhelming. So she soaks herself in the bath and lets her golden thread go beyond the palace. Then the water drops on the thread where vibrates and shiver. She closes her eyes and listens to the echoes silently. She hears how her mother's feet were wounded for spreading over too many stones and is soaking her feet in the hot water bath. She hears
I heard
children.
that the Golden Goddess also likes to visit the baths.
She hears children playing next to the pools and someone is saying loudly. She is used to bathing alone at the start of the hours of loosing or parting. Her golden hair spread in the water like a throne, like the scattered golden threads wrapping her again in a cocoon. Yanusali maiden silently walks over, scooping up water to wash the weaver's hair, as if cleansing the bough of a laurel tree. That is when the one who seized the core flame finally knows there's no difference between a demigod and a true deity. The golden blood that congealed through divinity, only in this heavy heat can temporarily flow, and let this golden butterfly feel a fleeting warmth. Just as she had once touched her own face, falls the final tear her eyes will ever produce.
Teacher, I had a dream.
She recounts like a young girl on a whim. The sound of the water repels all disruptions and speech. Such peaceful rest, such sweet dreams. She dreamed of how she was a naive noble girl, ignorant of the world. She dreamed of the countless nights when she worked in the courtyard she weaved, She dreamed of being before the vine-covered temple where the wind blew by a violent stream. And lastly, she dreamed of the prophecy that she heeded, how the ancient sound came through the thousand waves and could not be heard clearly in her dream. Do not stare directly into the future of your people, for that blinding prophecy will burn you all.
The dawn device is always glittering, and birds are always chittering.
The children of Okama like this kind of songs. Why not trust in the promise of an era crazy unending, like how children believe in fairy tales passed down unceasing? But will the dawn device truly shine forever? Will the voices of songbirds not one day turn hoarse? In the golden bath in times gone by, she pierced her eyes, for she saw the all too dazzling future of everyone. That future was nothing compared to false promises. That is the price you must pay for listening to my prophecy. The gods have already determined her destiny and her passing. She knew, she had long known. The red-haired child appears
You are
worried.
aware of everyone's fate, yet never speak of your own future.
The child who passes along the prophecy understands that to lay such a heavy weight on one person is comparable to the dawn the world-bearing Titan shoulders.
There's only one future for silken threads. That is, to weave magnificent clothes for others.
She takes the children's hands, inviting them into the pools, intending to use warm water to wash away their concerns. Yes, before the toll of the bell that announces the hour, before the meeting to judge the fleet chase begins, do not waste the rare gold dreams, or the long-winded waves around as tears. She mutters as destiny slumbers in her arms.
The one that wears this elegant attire in the future must bear the weight of the silk threads.
Act concluded. So the card is complete now. Or I think it is. I will end with final. Chapter 2, Warm Childhood.
In Dolos's suburbs, in a tiny weaving workshop, the silk-weaving old woman busies herself within as her smart child wanders outside on a whim. The silk pours from the loom, some bright as the dawn, some dark as the night. The woman had lived her whole life in poverty, yet through her business, she never deceives.
Okay.
Good child, listen to me. Never lie and speak deceit, for people like you only do to honesty.
The girl smiles and nods, but her heart is drawn to the boundless desires of the bustling streets. And the grandmother is unaware that her handmade white dress has been stained by the mud of conceit.
Madam, what is a bundle of white silk's price?
Sir, only 2,000 balance coins.
An honest price tag can only meager profit obtain.
If we keep selling cloth like this, we'll stay poor for the rest of our lives.
the girl complains to her grandmother while sprouting countless plots and petty tricks. The woman smiles and does not reply, only weaving with night-shaded silk a suave, hooded robe for her little spark.
Why don't you take some of our goods and go into the city tomorrow to try out those pranks?
The mesmerizing, moneyed charm of Dolo City turns minds and tongues into a whirlwind of confusion. Even the girl who prided herself on sharp ears and a clever tongue could not contend with the myriad of shifting faces before her. She returns penniless and furiously seethes.
I vow to the god of thieves that I will eventually empty those people's pockets.
Smiling, her grandmother stops her silk work and offers some dinner with humble dish.
Silly child, don't let Titans hear such vows and promises.
Yet when the moon rises, a magnificent pin graces the old lady's pale locks. The girl smiles at the old woman, now stunned in shock.
I actually did return with some catch.
The brilliance adorning her white hair drew all eyes, and its proud original owner arrived to stake their claim. The bet that the girl won with a brilliant trick is described as a thief's loot through lying schemes. The old woman, in her panic, shouldered the blame, confirming a sin that was but a fabrication.
By Dolos's laws, we must also execute all her family!
To protect the girl, the old woman reveals the final secret unseen.
She's not my family, but just an orphan picked from the street on a whim.
People thought this to be a lie, but the girl knows her grandmother cannot deceive, just like how she always glossed over questions about parents and kin.
Your parents went to a city-state far away.
The girl never bothered to unravel the threadbare lie.
Stop! Stop right there, you thief!
Run! Run as fast as you can! Cyphera!
The lies overthrow the shop and tear apart the good woman's good name, leaving the girl with guilt and grief. The hearth of her home was a lie, doused by another conceit. But if her sleight of hand had better skill, would it have made that fire burn forever? The girl pulls down the hood and sinks into the starless dark.
I vow to the god of thieves.
And from that day, she never left empty-handed, her words woven with deceit. However, back then, the girl did not realize that the people did not covet one simple pin, but the golden blood flowing beneath her skin.
Okay. It's good that the new stories have a narrator now. Glowing faint light.
This world may contain thousands of ills, but the number of sufferers is countless, like ocean-going sails. The father and daughter who inherited the sky wander this land's paths, and throughout the cities, they heal the unwell.
Heirs of the sky who once reveled in martial might, why do you now soothe the world's blistering blight?
The doctor responds with a smile as he cures the injury's agony.
Father, why did our ancestors revel in warlike might?
Because they only have a sorrowful past of lamenting wails.
Then why are we here? Soothing the blade?
Because we have a future that needs protection still.
The priest who parts dusk from dawn collapsed the sky and sealed her wings, and dwells in a place where time itself meant, bearing the promise to return to the Zenith Supreme.
This is the Twilight Courtyard's story.
And the father tells his daughter the tale of their line, next to the bonfire lit in the wilderness where winds pine. Though he had told this story many times before, a light in the girl's eyes still shines.
Maybe I will return to the sky one day.
Or maybe that is not to be your fate.
The blessings of the sky were passed down through generations of their heirs. The brawn of the Titan who molded stars granted a boon fitting and fair. Perhaps the girl with heroic blood in her veins will be accompanied by thunderbolts and the sun's merciless glare. Childishly, she recited the words,
Oh sky, heed my wishes.
and thunder and heat did not descend. She only saw a sliver of gentle, warm flare, wiping away mortal exhaustion and others' tired airs. What a gentle blessing. All said that she must be a savior saint, bringing light to the land, even if faint. But where the girl's eyes often gazed was the wine-dark sky, gloomy and bleak.
The god is also sick.
That grand longing to save the world may be no more than the girl's feeble dream. But her father treated it as his greatest treasure and taught her all the ways of potions and creams. That girl therefore always accompanied the gentle master of healing and repair. And she brought glowing faint light to the night, dispelling pains and mending the world's pitchy blight. Father and daughter often rested in the silent courtyard under the giant tree. Yet today, at that place, only one solitary figure can be seen. On that night, the healer spoke to a visitor throughout the night. On that morning, he bid farewell to his daughter for the first time. He will heal the ill at a faraway place where the end of days approaches and no family of his should follow.
You have learned the craft of healing and understood the blessing, but a light more radiant still is needed to heal the entire world.
The departed healer never returned, and the girl never left. And that rather lonely courtyard stayed silent as it was before.
Wait. And final. The Nameless Hero, one-way journey from the past.
There are no swords here, only farming tools.
Facing the ambitious boy, the shopkeeper kindly explained,
Even a rake would do. Let its worth be judged by the verses I etch upon the earth with it.
Many days later, the wounded child stood upon the scorched earth, and silently he buried the ruined tool. For that was his first sword, And on the day that the black tide came, he broke the shackles of fate with that weapon true.
Let go of my beard, you white-haired rascal!
No!
Fine! You win, okay?
That was the first victory claimed by the boy, a victory often mentioned in later years, and yet he never treated it with shame.
I understood something thanks to his beard.
The others hold their breath, waiting for his thoughts, but he only gives out one response.
The victor must stay focused, and success will come when you work on nothing else.
Those words became the foundation of his existence.
Knowledge is also a power used to smite.
While studying at the Grove of Epiphany, he etched this into his heart. So he devoured thousands of books, skimming through to glean the martial powers of might. But unenlightened wisdom is merely dust. And when the next calamity approaches, all he recalled is flight. Thus, his books are always worn into shreds, for each book was read endlessly till he remembered every detail slight. When first arriving at the holy city, he was no more skilled than a soldier, except his ambition.
Even the deliverer from the sky must have their beginnings in the soil of the nations.
The elders in the holy city scorned, casting him into barracks in derision. But none expected this new recruit of unknown history made his name in one mission. Some asked him, which teacher caused such improvement? He answers with countless names, including the Inquirer's own.
Only one who treats the world as their teacher can bear its eventual destiny.
Those with golden blood are bound to succeed.
The golden heroes are born as gods, beloved.
Such words echo in the man's mind, yet he knows glory is not where the journey begins. He misses the buried rake, worshipped the enemy with the long beard, mended his tattered books, and polished the barracks' dust-covered gear.
What forges a hero is not destiny from above, but the long journey that follows.
Now he stands here and looks back, and his past twists into a winding path. The long road to the sky stretches ahead. And towards the blazing white sun, he pens down Deliverance's name.
Okay. So Finon was the underdog when he went to the city. Okay. I heard that before reaching the end of their life, the followers of Nestia would offer their most beautiful creation. What would that be for Aglaia? Future of the Holy City? Perhaps that is herself. In any case, it would be very romantic. Though I haven't seen it yet, it must be just like Aglaia's other works, golden, beautiful, and warm. Oh right, serious. Are all the other stories you've experienced on your journey the same? Always growing more serious, never feeling at ease? That mood's inevitable. I see, then we must become the exception. After all, we promised to always remind each other to stay optimistic. Please remember that no matter what. In any case, I will remember all this in my heart. After all, their stories deserve to be told and retold, right? Okay, one left. Yes. Ooh, 6 cards. Okay. Meadows. Light of glory unjustified.
As always, to perceive the man's fury, one must do so 7,000 paces away. The Kremnos he guards is once again shrouded by mist. Rust, blood, and fire are the ceremonial ode to the demigod. There is no one to witness or to give cheers of glory. The final Kremnos festival goes on without end. The victor shall embrace death and silence, and his glory will only be remembered by the defeated array. For that man, laws and seals no longer have meaning. War and battle never cease for a single minute, each passing day indistinguishable, morning and night entwined. The corpses pile up, filling ravines, forming mountains strong. He carved time with peak's edge and counted the fleeting years by fires of war. Sometimes the lion would climb to the hilltop to look down on the world and search for friends in longing. The distant heavens and earth stretched vast and boundless, but their endlessness felt ever more remote. Like Nikador, he cannot escape madness's clutches. Guarding the city alone and embroiled in war, the murmurs of the black tide constantly sound in his ears. Yet a flame soars up his chest every moment, casting light upon the indomitable path behind him. Memories seal the echoes of the past as the man strides into battle, fists clenched fast. He is the wound this world must bear, the new king before whom old gods despair. As stated in Idonia's poems, humans are born with eyes closed to accustom to this world's light, and their sight fades in old age to reacquaint with night's anthems. But the man did not bow to the decay of time, rejecting the lure of death's call. With each return from the brink of death, his eyes burn with fury, fixed upon his foes, until everything suddenly faded away, like a surging black tide swallowing all into nothingness. The world dissipates in the roiling black tide's requiem. Even the lion will one day die, a departure with no way back. With a sudden fall, his pierced chest hits the ground, and slowly flowing into the underworld is his golden blood, departing his system. But that gaze, fierce as flame, never dimmed, not even in death, looking beyond those flame-seeking figures, reaching far toward the endless horizon. In the morrow sky, the stars will chant, "The lone king of Kremnos is called mighty. His journey was one of ceaseless, eternal warfare, and behind him, he left a world ablaze with glory."
Okay. Last one for Mighty. Trivi. She who passes through doors.
I fear. How can mere mortals defy the gods?
I worry.
How can mortal bodies reforge the world anew?
I suspect that the prophecy is simply a rumor.
Overthrow the god.
Teacher, do not hesitate. The world still walks on the path you indicate.
Restore the core flames, it declared.
Stop. We only wish to live life as it is. No more.
Cease. Our achievements already stand tall.
Rest up! We only wish to live in peace and prosperity.
Hearken to the sounds that the doors whisper. Please, be not afraid. We will definitely bring you to a new home.
Lady Treeby, Lady Trianne, please, don't cry.
Do not worry. We trust you always.
Bear the divine authority, it declared. Quiet Trinan has little to say. Lively Trianne loves to play. And well-behaved Treeby roams around all day. Forge miracles, it declared.
If every single scar equals a coin, then the girl always pursued would be worth her weight in gold. Deception, theft, and night heists. But her nerves failed her when it mattered most. The girl clutches meager loot to her chest and escapes, muttering curses, bearing her pain.
definitely win next time.
She always longs for the coin of Whimsy's blessing and creed. Yet the coin in the air always suddenly disappears, as if in reply from the trickery titan. Day and night flow, and the thief star makes circles across the sky, while time molds the girl into an adult. The cloak once used to conceal her entire body now only suffices as a hood that barely covers her fringe.
No matter. These days, I have no need to hide.
With a confident stride and a silver tongue, her perfected fraud thieving every opportunity as a result. And at curtain fall hour, those treasure-seeking steps fade into the moonlight. When she appears again, her arms are laden with money's weight. What is the art of thieving?
Stealing from the poor. Not enough loot. Stealing from the rich. That's a boring task to boot.
The girl narrows her eyes of greed towards those called the Chrysos heirs. The golden vines of the sages' homes, the sacred carcass of the Deathward realm, the divine lyre of the seashore's pearl, and the crystal chalice of the thousand gates. The girl knows not the treasure's origins, only that they are all valuable beyond measure.
To have something priceless is the true art of thieving.
A pity the deceits are all eventually revealed, and the thief meets a rare defeat. A golden thread discerns her meticulous disguise, and the heroes hold down her third hand to imprison in this thief star made of human feet.
I take defeat with my head held high. Spare me your sympathy.
She frankly faces the accusations, knowing that escaping would be nothing more than child's play. So the Chrysos heir outside the cage smiles sweet.
Would you like to see my most precious? A treasure bride?
It is a dress, like the beauty god Nestia's divine body. More blinding than the sun, rivaling the moon in its glory.
It is woven by divine threads. It captivates even the gods. But all the lies and deceit are revealed under the golden thread's query.
The world-famous thief is stirred by such grand words into a flurry.
Then just you watch. This wondrous dress will forever remain in my own gallery.
On the day that the grove fell, he accepted his defeat and demise, as if embracing truth and heresy.
Believe in Titans, and you'll have a happy death. Deny the Titans, and you'll have a fulfilling death.
Yet, as the lightened soul bids farewell to its heavy shell, a Titan made an untimely call.
Do not be startled, child of humanity. You have a final query in this world.
You finally came.
He does not seem shocked and lets the core flame take over his shell.
Be more punctual next time, if you will.
Upon his first meeting with the Titan, the blasphemer is already on his best behavior. And towards the suggestion to reforge his body, he paid no mind.
I have so kindly offered you the best body. So why do you insist upon your mortal imperfection?
The scholar replies in candor.
Only by retaining the various flaws can my humanity be preserved in rigor.
His form remains in the mortal realm, while his spirit walks the river of souls' shores. Between life and death, he fatigues. Dwelling in the child of humankind's thoughts and senses, the Titan cannot bear to remain a mere spectator.
Why not ask me your questions, child of humanity? I am rich in wisdom, and shall speak with no ambiguity.
As though an unspoken pact, the scholar asked the god about all things, feigning a humble quest for knowledge.
Do you treat me just as a way to answer questions? A mere machine?
The Titan got what they asked for.
You should thank me, for good questions are rarer than good answers.
Compared to the joy of a new life, the scholarly breakthrough carried home alongside death filled the scholar's heart with more fervor. He returned to the Scourged Grove many times, and the black tide followed. Despite his defeats, he never sought help or permission. But at every desperate moment, the Titan would eventually take over one half of his body. The union of man and God, a flawed and clumsy choreography. It happened but once, a perfect harmony. One man, one God, speaking in one breath.
Stop stepping forward at the same time as me.
The Titan once revealed the secrets of mixing life, a boon, seemingly a blessing, but full of malice.
What a tempting bait. But that's not my desired chalice.
Divine power is within his reach, but the scholar is not moved by that essence. This long and abnormal temptation is also a trial of elevation, for the sage can achieve all things, but shortcuts alone he abhors with silence.
Teacher, in this tumultuous world, have you thought about your will?
It was just a joke, but the scholar, still at the grove, answered with extreme caution. He has much to say about his posthumous affairs, exhausting all, fearing the smallest omission.
Teacher, could it be that you fear death?
The assistant asks in concern. It was a question needed, yet he gave no direct reply.
Philosophy is the inquiry into death, and I have always considered myself a philosopher.
assistant recounts all of the scholar's final wishes, each mighty as a mountain, asking what seemed impossible.
The tombstone must be made of my treasured rare stones, carved with Dromus patterns.
But that stone is a miracle of alchemy, tough beyond measure. No chisel could have shaken.
That's also his plan.
The assistant softly reveals the hidden plot.
He hopes that instead of shedding tears over his death, we will find it in us to smile, even in a moment of sorrow.
It's rumored that in the depths of the grove, the scholar left a teaching ingenium, imitating himself to the utmost detail.
Go back. The living have not exhausted their thoughts. Go back. The dead have no desire to teach their works.
The ingenium's words are cold and detached, like the deceased man himself.
But if you have no one to talk to, fine. You can sit and converse.
Now, the grove is no longer bustling, and the scholar has returned to dust. Thus, few in this world now know how he was also troubled by solitude in life. Someone once suggested,
perhaps your ambition should also find its place among your final wishes.
Pointless notion.
He dismissed in derision.
Unveiling the countenance of the gods is a task for the living.
Perhaps that is his haughty position. Such a melancholy topic, yet he insists on feigning a twist, avoiding it altogether. Perhaps these chapters should not be retained. Most are from the scholar's handwritten drafts, shown without his permission. Yet there seems to be a voice there in remonstration.
It's just the past. What harm is there in revelation?
Even in passing, his hubris still resounds in reverberation.
The smaller a thing is, the more it shows its weight. The more foolish my name is, the more glory my achievements will be in comparison.
Oh, let's do When the Wind Was Gone.
The two girls frolicked in the wheat fields, fleet as doe deer, making ripples in the shallow puddles and pools clear. As dusk approaches, the exhausted girls collapse over the wheat heaps, talking about their longings and dreams of literature, love, and a journey through a world dear.
Oh, Sky, slow your closing gaze. How I want to keep this moment in my hands forevermore.
On that day, the breeze was warm and gentle. At that time, death was soft and fair. The broken-winged butterfly falls by the window, bringing with it a scent of melancholy. The girl looks outside. The golden wheat fields rolled endlessly, stretching to the horizon. Holding to the chair, she tries to stand, only to find her legs trembling and feeble.
Don't worry, Pelixia.
Her older sister whispers beside her ear, and on her sister's shoulder, the girl weeps mournfully. And time thus becomes silent, painted with sighs only. When hearing the healer's diagnosis, the girl remained deathly still. Her eyes were already drained of tears, and her heart a wilted grave.
Every time she has something on her mind, she would tilt her head and look outside.
Her sister follows her gaze, seeing a barren field turned by wind into a desolate gray expanse. Till one day, when the girl looks outside, she sees a dash of dark blue, most brave.
It's a flower my sister planted.
Like the torrential river of life, it pours into the depths of her heart. The flower is called Antilla. Even in the Netherland, it's rumored to thrive.
You are the quiet in my heart, amidst the chaotic choreography.
That seems to be its floriography. When the days are warm, the sister would take the girl on long journeys through the flower fields, gazing upon rivers, napping amongst the grove, a discussion hardy.
After I die, I want to become an Antilla flower and become the quietness in your soul.
A thoughtless word from the girl gains her a wrapping on her forehead most dainty.
Do not speak of dusk when you have yet to see the dawn.
Dew drops from the petals as wind pulls on the leaves, and the two of them sit in quietude. The girl asks for the means to tend to the garden, and while her sister sounds concerned, her heart is relieved. But the concern is well-founded. The girl tripped and fell into a mire. She gazed directly into the eyes of death in that dark pool, bottom unperceived.
I've been the weight upon my sister's wings. Let this be where it all comes to rest.
The girl gives up her struggles, only to see a figure pierce through the water's surface.
I won't allow you to walk through the dusk alone, or enter the night of no reprieve.
Her sister sobs without end, and the girl has to gently hug her and softly relieve. And then, this distant memory turns bleary, difficult to retrieve.
And the last one, which is...
The river of souls flows to the other side, wrapped in the land's night. Broad, slow, an eternal and silent sight. It belongs to all in this world that has life, all of which flows downstream, converging as one. The master of the nether realm, Thanatos, enshrouds himself and the souls within the moon cocoon. The dragon, born from the cocoon, carries a girl, soaring upstream the river of souls, defying its eternal flow. Their connection flows tighter than blood, and the key that opens the netherworld's gates is the sister's selfish plight. Back then, the boreal winds cut through to the bone. Back then, death was a bitter and stabbing fright. In the Netherrealm, without an earth or sky, a flower named Antilla blooms, its beauty witnessed by but one soul.
You are the quiet in my heart, amidst the chaotic choreography.
The younger sister scores through the blooming Antilla fields, never finding that promised dark blue sprig. She silently made up her mind.
Death, leave all your dark nights to me, and save the dawns for her.
The younger sister gazes at the moon cocoon high above and plans a trip to the mortal realm, a distant flurry. A bard once sung to musical notes.
Do not turn back. Oh, do not turn back. The long hand of shadow will retain the dead behind their gates.
The giant dragon born from the moon cocoon willingly offered itself as the enduring barge of the River of Souls.
No need to turn back. Oh, no need to turn back. That price had long been paid for you by someone else.
The dragon lowers its long neck and places the girl on its back. In slumber, she will unknowingly greet the dawn of her rebirth. The dragon flaps its wings in the chilly gloom of the floating dead upstream, ferrying from purity into grime, going from silence to roaring boom. The souls of countless poets flounder past, their distant rhymes endless like foams.
Do not turn back, for to look toward the land of mortals is in itself turning back.
In this pale dawn, the sun's first rays light the night ablaze. So the dragon crosses the sea of souls onto the shores of life and strands itself in the gleam. We know not where these stories arise. They are scattered across the shallows with the waves. The confession the girl made before her departure still echoes in the tide's heaves.
If there is anything for me to leave behind, may it find a soul to remember. This is the ode of my life, and I've already penned my last stroke.
A good student, who often did stupid things.
Was the assessment from the lotophagist sage.
An excellent healer who fails at all scholarly means.
Was the assessment from the noticed sage.
A shining child who also burns away her own life's rays.
Was the assessment from the erythrocaramist sage.
A fool who was always wreathed in smiles, while drowning in a weighty and pitiful dream.
Was the assessment from the Neusporist sage. The girl had visited all the schools during her time studying at the Grove. She refused to become a scholar, despite her exemplary grades.
Instead of increasing this world's knowledge, I prefer to reduce its pain.
While the sages faced her words in silence, the Neusporist sage alone decided to hire her as assistant post-haste.
An apprentice who spends wisdom is more precious than scholars who hide knowledge away.
The faded twilight courtyard, long eroded by time, now shelters a girl, the sole heir of her lineage. Loneliness accompanied her days, till the sage of the Caprists visited her and brought her a chromatic pony with a grin.
It may be the Eye of Twilight's creation in times gone by, for it shines with the sky's rainbow hues within.
Could it be the warlike winged beast of her father's tales? But the sleepy, dreary-eyed pony before her was soft as freshest plucked cotton. The girl still took this gift, for from the little creature she smelled the scent of clouds distant.
If it weren't for her, I would have suffered more accusations.
The new sporism sage says in admission. The scholars coming to deliver arguments and reproach often stopped before the door, not coming to fruition. For the girl before the door soothed their blazing anger like the soft clouds, gentleness in cumulation.
Do you know what sacrileges he has committed?
The girl muddles her answers, yet her heart knows in full admission.
Like you and me, he too wishes to heal all of this world's afflictions.
The girl treated ailments for many years in the grove, composing her medical treatises into tomes. When scholars seek medical help, she realizes with a startle that kindness too can grow into its own bloom. By that time, the twilight already lost their eyes, and the world drowns in evernight, while the girl and the healer again traverse the world in gloom. Seeing the golden thread and ivy in the night, though it has been long since she recalled her past, she once again thinks of her childhood dream.
Should the sun be dimmed by destiny's decree, then the dawn that heals the world I shall replace.
So many things happened all of a sudden. Farewells are always so abrupt, making it hard to say what's truly in one's heart. Since we have time now, if you had to say goodbye to me, what would you say? Just curious. I believe we will meet again someday. Ah, that's what I think too. It's strange. When I think about parting, I don't feel too sad. Could it be because I've never experienced it before? So, is everyone's story coming to an end? I always wanted to see a new story, but now my feelings are a little different. I really hope everything about them never reaches an end. Every story has a conclusion. Don't say that. Isn't everyone doing their best for the new world? I believe it will be a bright tomorrow. Ah, then there's no need to dwell on it. No matter what happens next, no matter what you decide, Sirius, I will always stand by your side. We are the best of partners, and that will never change, right? Okay, we are done with the crystals. So we had quite a bit of backup on that story writing, but now we are catch up. Oh, okay. So for this version we have everything. Neat. So what do we have for savings? 90 pulls. Okay. That will be a great. Oh, and then 20 here, okay. Ambers is resetting very soon, just in time for the new version. So, yes, 91 pulls, which is perfect. And Maybe it will the Saber banner will be with a different ticket. I hope not, but we'll see. Ooh, surprise chest. Okay.
Not too shabby. Useful for alchemy.
Okay. Very well. So this is this will be the first character for which I will have the full preform before her release, which is neat. Awesome. But missions. I might try to do. I don't know. Because next time it will be the main story. So I don't know well when I will be able to catch up on the side the side missions, because there is quite a lot here, but it might be necessary to grab some extra stellar jades like this. So we'll see. Okay, that will be all for today, and see you next time.
All things are connected by origin, and are made of the same essence. All things are connected by origin, and are made of the same essence. All things are connected by origin, and are made of the same essence.